Raptors Insider reveals that the Toronto Raptors are going to lose one of their top stars coming this offseason. So we'll discuss that, including an update regarding Otto Porter Jr.'s health and Scottie Barnes being an historic company starting off this season. So lots of stuff to break down. Without further ado, let's jump in the first topic of discussion. The first thing we're taking a look at is the Toronto Raptors losing a top star. Now, this start of the season has been a roller coaster. Feels like after every win, we're feeling great. After every loss, everyone's feeling down. The trade rumors, the speculation sort of spikes up amongst the fan base and heck, even amongst the reporters. And basically, this didn't change after the Raptors' brutal loss to the Philadelphia 76ers last night. And just a side note, it kind of makes sense given the state of the Toronto Raptors' current roster, because if things aren't working out and we don't bottom out, we don't completely tear down this ship, the Raptors are going to be without a first-round pick and won't make the playoffs. So they'll make the playoffs with nothing to show for it, so it makes sense to bottom out. But obviously, if we're winning games, we do have a lot of talent on this roster, so it makes sense to root for this squad and you get hyped up about the positive games. But I digress on that little tangent. Michael Grange came out, was on the Behind the Play podcast, and revealed a little offhandedly that this is the video he was on, that the Raptors are going to lose one of Pascal Siakam or O.G. Anunoby coming this offseason. And that's a little bit sketchy to hear, given the fact, yes, I know a lot of people want to see Pascal traded, especially after those games that are a loss. People were pretty hyped about Pascal after he put in 26 against the Milwaukee Bucks, but he's a guy that doesn't fit that Scottie Barnes timeline. Not that O.G. is extremely young at this point, but is definitely closer to Scottie Barnes' age than Pascal Siakam's. But basically, Pascal Siakam is a guy the fan base has always been up and down on consistently, and both him, Gary Trent Jr., and O.G. Anunoby are all free agents come this next offseason. Now, the Raptors are sort of in a position where, do we rebuild? Do we tank? Do we do all this type of stuff? And these types of guys, and O.G. and Pascal, certainly we're still unsure about Gary Trent Jr. Talking about him could probably be his own video, but two of those guys are going to be looking upwards of close to max contracts, if not complete maxes, for two of those guys. And if Siakam makes All-NBA, which the first few games of the season probably don't indicate, his stats for this year haven't been too hot at 17 points per game, and had a big game against the Bucks again, but six boards and only 5 assists, but come this offseason, there's going to be a serious bag thrown to Pascal Siakam and O.G. Anunoby, all things considered. So, it's going to be tough to pay that much money to two top guys that are on the roster if we're not a championship contender. We have Scottie Barnes' contract in the future that we have to look ahead to. Heck, we have other young players that we have to sort of figure out their deals, their sort of contracts in the future, like Gary, Precious, these types of guys who are planning on keeping them long term. So it doesn't really make sense to have multiple max guys that aren't, 1A options on a championship team, or at least if one of them isn't a 1A option on a championship caliber team. But again, you don't want to lose O.G. Anunoby. You don't want to lose Pascal Siakam, especially for nothing, right? Brought up Pascal Siakam stats. O.G. Anunoby's are here. His scoring's a bit down this season, but again, solid boards, solid steals again, and it's a smaller sample size for both these guys, so we can't overreact to the stats too much, but shooting 37% again from the three-point line this year, 17 points per game last season. O.G. Anunoby's a beast, a menace. Giannis was talking about how elite he is on defense, almost in horror following that game against the Milwaukee Bucks. So both of these guys are two dudes you don't want to leave. But then the question is, who are they going to keep? If they're going to keep one of Pascal Siakam or O.G. Anunoby, or at least if Michael Grange thinks that. I know everyone hates when I react to Michael Grange's takes, but he is an insider. He does have a direct ear to the front office, but basically one stat might be a clear indicator in terms of what direction the Toronto Raptors are going, because Pascal Siakam's usage rate for an all-NBA type of dude is at 18.1%, which is in line with guys like Duncan Robinson, Jalen Suggs, and Tobias Harris. This has come from Estefari. Apologize for the name pronunciation, but basically the Raptors, if Pascal Siakam's usage is going down and down and down under new head coach Darko Rajakovic, it feels like the system is slowly moving away from a team built around Pascal to more the younger group. And we've heard the praise, the talk about wanting to put ball in O.G. Anunoby's hands more often, having him as more of an on-ball role. It's what he desires. It's what he hired a new agent to sort of put him in a position to do for this upcoming season. And basically, I feel like, given Masai Ujiri's track record, not allowing O.G. Anunoby to be in any trade discussions for guys like Damian Lillard or people along those lines, then even Kevin Durant, I think Pascal Siakam's going to be the guy that Masai Ujiri tries to move on from. I mean, it seemed like a deal was this close to happening with the Atlanta Hawks for Kobe Buffkin or DeAndre Hunter, whoever was involved in the Atlanta Hawks trade. So don't be surprised if things aren't working out, if things aren't shaking up the way that they should be. Pascal Siakam's name ends up in a lot more trade rumors over the next few weeks, and especially as sort of trade season around mid-December, things really start to heat up. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. The next thing we're taking a look at is the real reason Otto Porter Jr. isn't playing. Now, Otto Porter Jr. is a guy that dealt with a lot of injuries last year, barely played for the Toronto Raptors last season, but is a guy, as we saw against the Milwaukee Bucks, is a valuable role player, can defend, can shoot the three. It's a veteran presence that was a championship starter on a championship caliber team just 2 seasons ago. So a guy that should be getting run. Raptors fans should be excited about getting into the rotation, but didn't play last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this was revealed going into the game, and we have some details in terms of what to expect regarding Otto Porter Jr.'s sort of role in the future, especially on back-to-back nights. Basically, if he'd been going full speed, I'd have been dead. Well, that's Grady Dick there in terms of taking the charge. But Darko also said that Porter's availability on back-to-backs will depend on how much he's played the previous nights and how he's feeling. So, surprised if he played tomorrow. It's all conjecture, all that type of stuff. But basically, don't expect Otto Porter Jr. to be playing back-to-backs. Expect there to be more DNPs, not because of his talent, not because of what he can provide to the Toronto Raptors. It's not a, how you're doing sort of DNP. It's hey, Otto Porter Jr., not even that old, but you're injury prone, so we don't want to overwork that body. So hopefully Otto Porter Jr. gets back to a point where he can play night in, night out, and we've seen just in that one game against the Bucks, he could be a valuable role player to this team off the bench, because Grady Dick is a rookie, a three-point shooting rookie. He's going to be inconsistent. That's just how it goes with rookie shooters. They're going to have ups and downs. I like the way he's playing. Shots just have to go in. Gary Trent Jr. has been an absolute sort of roller coaster this year as well, so not even a roller coaster. He's just kind of been down this year. But his career as the Toronto Raptors has been a bit of a roller coaster. So Otto Porter Jr. could be that steady presence off the bench the Raptors need in order to win games. But we'll see what happens along those lines. And the final thing we're taking a look at has been the real bright spot for the Toronto Raptors this year is insane Scottie Barnes stat and just his overall performance on the season. Again, there's been a huge hive in terms of Scottie believers and not Scottie doubters, but people that don't view him as sort of the next star for the Toronto Raptors. Personally, I viewed Scottie Barnes as the next star, but he didn't take the leap needed, for him to be that 1A, 1B, 1C option last season. But this year, I expected him to sort of take a leap from last season. Again, a lot of players in their third years usually take that jump, and Scottie Barnes certainly has. And now he's put into elite company with how he's been performing on the season. Basically, in the first 5 games of a season, players that have had over 100 points, 50 rebounds, 25 assists, and 10 blocks, Scottie Barnes is in there with a few future Hall of Famers and existing Hall of Famers. So Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, as well as Larry Bird. So, again, these arbitrary stats that sort of pull random numbers, random aggregations of numbers to sort of make players look good, they're always a little bit fun. They're a little bit memey, but, Scottie Barnes, the fact that he is in one of these lists indicates that he's definitely having a very strong start to the season. It's not just the eye test that Raptors fans have been seeing. The numbers are backing it up, and he's in elite company along those lines. He's a well-rounded sort of wing forward scorer. So shout out to Scottie Barnes for taking that jump, taking that step forward. It's always great to see your younger guys come into the seasons and take some jumps. And last season was so depressing because we didn't even have that star really on the rise, right? The rookie season was fun for Scottie Barnes, but last year, the Raptors were mid, and Scottie Barnes didn't take that leap. So even if we're losing games, even if things are disappointing this year, and I think it's going to be an up and down season for the Toronto Raptors, Scottie Barnes playing well will be the factor that makes the Raptors at least watchable again for this upcoming season. But let me know what you guys think about all of this Toronto Raptors news. Again, we're very close to 30,000 subscribers, so it would mean the world to me. If you made it this far in the video and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. But you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.